Welcome back to the Wacky Wonderful Wiseworks podcast. All you guys, gals, geeks, and goofballs. It's been a minute.
It's been weeks.
Been
2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's
2
been
weeks.
a little while. We've had stuff happening. You know, people moving.
Yeah.
People doing stuff.
Staying busy, man.
Staying busy.
Staying busy.
People visiting. I mean, we can't. You can't predict everything.
No, you can't. And if you want to hear those details, we do talk about it on the pre-show on our Patreon and YouTube memberships. But then we don't have to cover it here. We even talked about stuff we've been watching recently. We talked in depth about The Bear, right?
Yeah.
The Bear season 3 over there. So look, go check that out. I don't mean to plug right off the top, but hey, it's good to be back. I'm glad to be with you.
Hey, and look, I'm not gonna lie. As time goes on, I may not be here. For a couple podcasts.
Okay.
Which just means next week after.
Yes.
Yeah, we just are starting the new season. And this guy's gonna ditch us on this.
I took time off. Okay, I put in my PTO. All right.
Well, did you file it with Wiseworks HR or only your Works HR? Because
I filed it with Work HR, and
Wiseworks HR was a phone call. All right.
You at least have to go to Fiona and be like, "Hey, Fiona, can I?"
I'm gonna be off. Yeah. But yeah, that's we're back. We're
back,
getting back into it.
I'm glad to be with you guys, be around the campfire of the flaming old man skull. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to be warming my hands and getting into the nitty gritty. And why it's produced this episode. I hope it's a good one. I hope he's got a lot of fun things for us to talk about. And putting it down
on my shoulders, huh?
And with that, I say you usually come through. You usually bring a solid.
I try to.
Yeah.
I try to. Josh knows. When I was working on it, I did it all in my room. I got home, I took a shower, I got on my computer and started working on it. And then
producing.
I came out of my room at probably like 6:30, and he goes, "Aha!" He awakes from his slumber, I believe.
Oh no! I said he's raised from the dead.
He has been raised from the dead. Yeah.
On an average day, he works really hard in the morning. I'm not going to say he doesn't work hard, but then he gets off by 1, and then he'll like crash in his room and then wake up around like
it's almost exactly
4, how it goes. And I'll be like, "Oh, so you you went and just like exited the earth for a second, and then now you're back."
Because I'm salary, and because I don't have to take a lunch. I don't typically take a lunch, so I work through my lunch. I get all of my stuff done. It's a lot of walking, sometimes uphill, sometimes downhill, in the rain, in the shine. It's tough. Josh knows. He's been doing the same thing now for a little while. And I get done, I come home, and sometimes I'll take a shower and then I'll just crash.
But you didn't.
No, I did.
The podcast.
No, I did. I crashed.
Yeah, you did.
I did at 3
My
o'clock.
exact words were he died and then
at
got raised
3 o'clock. I crashed. At 4 o'clock, I woke up and started producing the podcast. And I came out, and he was like, he's raised from the dead, and I was like, oh, I was in there producing podcast for a little, for about 2 hours, but no, I was trying to make sure it was good, and trying to focus on some stuff and make sure we get some interesting stuff to talk about.
We get
some. And on top of the movie stuff that we usually talk about, I'll say in the world of news,
dude, all sorts of stuff.
We've been off,
dude. We've been everywhere,
dude. The politics and everything of what's going on in the news is wild. And here's the thing:
if you combine, you go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was just gonna say my real hope is that when people come here, we can acknowledge that the world is a crazy place. We can acknowledge that it seems like disasters and chaos out there.
Yeah.
But when we come to listen to this podcast or come to watch this podcast, this is a place to escape. This is a place to talk about movies and to talk about stories, to deep dive into characters and theories, and enjoy time with friends. And that's really all you can do in your life. And
I mean,
really
we could also maybe throw in some talking about the Lord.
Talking about the Lord.
Absolutely.
I mean, we could talk about The Chosen and Jonathan Ramey.
I mean, I don't have any of that stuff in this podcast, but yeah, no, there's lots of stuff happening. You want to talk about Trump, you want to talk about Biden, you want to talk about a Boogie, you want to talk about Mr. Beast. It's all happening right now. Movies coming out. There's a lot of stuff right now.
Yes, there is.
So, I want to kind of maybe slow it down. Maybe.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
talk about
all of that.
We're not talking about all that. I want to talk about something interesting.
Yeah.
That I thought happened recently.
Okay.
Yeah.
In this first segment. So, the Star Wars apology is what I'm calling this.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I've not heard about this.
This isn't from Star Wars. This is from
Star Wars Theory.
This is about Star Wars Theory, who is a YouTuber. I'm sure many of you have heard of him. He's been big in the YouTube space, in the Star Wars space, and involving another large YouTube creator, Red Letter Media. You guys know Red Letter Media?
I've never watched any of their videos, but
so they're pretty prolific. They've been around for a minute. They're always funny, kind of tongue in cheek kind of guys. They don't care. They'll make fun of anybody and everybody, and it's always a good time.
So you like them?
I mean, I don't watch them.
Okay.
But even people that I know have an issue with them, and that they've been apologists for some stuff, and they've called out other YouTubers like seriously. Even those people that they've called out still watch them and enjoy them because they are funny and they are interesting. But pretty recently they were talking about the Acolyte.
Okay.
And they were talking about it in a way that was like almost talking down to the viewers, to the people who care about Star Wars. They've always sort of done
about
this.
Star Wars or people who enjoyed the Acolyte specifically?
No. People who enjoy Star Wars.
I enjoy some Star Wars.
Yeah.
But 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and that's about as far as it goes.
So people
maybe some Clone Wars, throw some Clone Wars in there.
Yeah. People who enjoy Star Wars, and they talk down about it. And almost don't consider the fact that this is somebody else's fandom, because Red Letter Media, their fandom is more Star Trek. They get really upset with Star Trek stuff, but when it comes to Star Wars, they're like, well, that's just kind of like kid fandom.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're serious, the adults play with Star Trek.
My nerd stuff is better than your nerd stuff.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I would agree with them.
They
Star
were talking
Trek
about
is better nerdy.
They were talking about the Acolyte and kind of making some fun at, Star Wars Theory and some other people who really do care about this kind of lore and this stuff. And recently in one of their videos, they had an apology towards Star Wars Theory.
Okay.
This is Star Wars Theory. He's been doing it for a minute. He's made short films. He has his own sort of like lightsaber company. He does probably the best impression of Emperor Palpatine I've ever heard.
Look, his impression of Anakin Skywalker and Yoda are also killers.
He's really good.
He's really good.
He's dedicated his life to this
Star Wars. Yeah.
But there was a video where he was kind of reacting to their apology, and I kind of want to play about a minute of that.
All right, here we go.
So go ahead.
Terrible. Grievous stole the show. Vader was clicked. Or are they showing a clip from my Visions? Was it Visions? Tales of the Empire. Baited hard. He literally sat in a throne, a little dinky throne, mind you.
I don't know what his name is. The man that was very upset about that.
I don't believe that.
It's treason.
It's a joke. I I have to apologize to Star Wars man.
Okay.
What the fuck, bro? Just say Star Wars theory, man.
That is his thing. That is Star Wars fans love their details and canon. Full acknowledgement. One could have said, "Why do you got to worry about that, Mike? They're starving children in Africa." And so, I publicly apologize to Star Wars man. I think his name is Star Wars Theory man.
He doesn't know my name. He was capping the whole time. You knew my name, baby. Just say it.
I gave everything that I had. I poured my heart, my blood, my sweat, my tears to this game, and
it's all good.
No, it's not
You can pause it there.
Theory Sabers.
All right.
They shout out Theory Sabers. But and obviously you could tell Star Wars Theory it has fun with his editing.
Yes.
But so when they say like Star Wars man, they're doing it tongue in cheek. They know his name. And Red Letter Media has always done that. Mm-hmm. They kind of take any big YouTuber, they don't care. They'll make fun of them.
Right.
They don't care. They'll mispronounce their name, call them something else. They're having fun with it, right? I do feel like at times, because I have watched some of their stuff, I feel like in the older days, they were doing it as a joke. As they've gotten older, I feel like it's more like they don't care as much.
Mm-hmm.
So it's become less of a joke. But the important part here is
they're being kind of serious.
They're being kind of serious, right?
All right.
But the important thing here is that they did actually apologize because they're recognizing that this is important to people.
Yeah.
And it is important to this YouTuber and other fans of Star Wars.
Right.
And so I guess what I'm kind of doing.
Are you about to pull out an apology? Or like a letter and then do like a whole apology?
No. I'm not apologizing for anything. I have nothing to apologize for. I've never had anything to apologize for.
No. I mean, that one night on, June 2nd.
All right, you need to chill. But I kind of want to use this as a launching point of the my fandom's better than your fandom. Clearly that they're coming at this and they're apologizing. They're recognizing that maybe some of the stuff that they said was a little bit harsh and that they were a little bit irreverent to somebody else's fandom,
right?
Even though they're super huge nerds as well.
Yeah, Star Trek.
And they maybe let their they maybe let their hubris and their cockiness kind of lead the way here.
Mm-hmm.
Are you guys, where do you sit on this kind of idea that fandoms, one is maybe better than the other?
I have a hot take on this.
Okay.
It's real hot, maybe not specifically with like that, but there's been one movie, Ready Player One, that you guys have made fun of me for loving. And, this is my fandom. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like I do kind of deserve an apology a little bit. So maybe you should pull out the apology video and apologize to me over Ready Player One being my Star Wars.
Yeah. Not going to happen. No.
Hey.
I recognize it. But you're right. It's what one person, fans over versus what somebody else does. Do you think that there is kind of a maybe any sort of hierarchy, or do you think we're all just kind of fans?
If there is a hierarchy, I think there's one place that it lives, and it's in my opinion, it starts and ends with Lord of the Rings. If there's a top of if there's a top of fandom, I think it has the biggest fandom, the most well thought out lore. It has the biggest universe, probably, in my opinion. Maybe not the legit meaning of the word universe.
I don't know. Star Trek.
Yeah,
I don't.
Star Trek.
I don't give a crap what you say. Star Trek doesn't even come close. In the same way that Star Wars does not come close to Lord of the Rings and the Middle Earth history. Star Trek doesn't come anywhere close either.
Okay, but here's we're finding the issue, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that your belief that Tolkien and Lord of the Rings is the best, does that rate on like some sort of hierarchy? I don't think it does. I think what you choose to be a fan of and what you choose to get really super nerdy or hipster about or whatever you want to call it is your prerogative. And
yes,
this whole issue is one nerd group thinking that they're better than another nerd group. That's the reason for this apology.
Right. I don't think there is a hierarchy. I was just saying if there is going to be one, I know where the top is, but but I don't think there is one. And
I love the hubris.
Yeah.
I don't think there is one. I agree with that. The thing is, I think nerds that are special.
Oh, I thought you were saying nerds were special.
No,
I mean,
nerds
they are special.
that have a specialty in a specific IP, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's valuable because in the case of Star Wars, which interestingly enough, I am wearing my Star Wars shirt tonight.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough,
is that Disney approved?
I have no idea. I got it from a thrift store.
Yeah, probably then.
Probably. But where was I going with that? Oh, nerds that have a specialty in a specific IP are very valuable. And I think that it allows the world to be built and respected in the right manner. It's when people who either say they're nerds but aren't really get involved, like what we see with Star Wars happening right now, is when it falls apart. And so nerd culture must exist, and fake nerd culture. And this is the thing, like Leslie Headland was a part of the fan fiction culture of Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's a dangerous game. Those don't mix. Nerd culture and fan fiction those aren't the same things. Mm-mm. Fan fiction could be some stuff that Star Wars Theory does. Like he's doing a Vader series, right? He's coming out with episode 2, I think, relatively soon.
I watched episode 1 like years ago.
Yeah, it's taken a long time. But the thing is, like that's more of like fan films. It's not like fan fiction, right?
I disagree. But
how
okay.
So?
It's the same thing. You're writing your own headcanon.
Then
in this case, he's going a step forward. He's filming that headcanon.
Okay, sure. That's all well and good, but it's not contradicting. Fan fiction a lot of times can contradict existing lore. Correct.
I mean, is it any different than Star Wars: A New Grope? That's fan fiction.
That's what I'm saying. Though.
That's headcanon.
Okay. I think nerds doing fan fiction is fine because they are nerds. You can't just have fan fiction enthusiasts writing about stuff they don't know about, right? I feel like that's disrespectful.
Okay.
Against any IP. And here's the thing. I'm not a fan of Wheel of Time. I've not read the books. I'm not into the characters. I don't even know the story. But I know and feel bad that series on Prime was completely demolished and not respected, right? I care for the nerds of Wheel of Time. I feel bad. I feel sorry for them.
You're saying nerds should care for nerds.
Nerds should care for nerds.
There should be, let's just start a group, nerds comforting nerds.
Nerds for nerds.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of red letter media's humor is a little bit boomery.
Look,
you know what I'm saying? There. And by boomery, I mean that kind of like, I don't care enough to get your name right. Does that not feel like a boomer thing?
Yeah.
It's like if you're talking about the presidents and your dad's like, oh yeah, Joe, what's his face? Byron, Joe Byron or whatever his name is, right? Does that not feel like boomer humor?
It's subtle jabs. It's when you take your knife and you stick them between the ribs.
Are we OTF in here?
Well, I had a I had a knife that I've been fiddling with, this little switchblade, or not switchblade.
It's an OTF out the front.
And I thought of, they're digging the knife, or they just get little jabs in, so I pulled my knife and anyways,
where's your knife, Josh?
I mean,
you've got one. I know
you don't want me to pull out my knife.
Okay. But anyways,
look, I think here's the thing. I'm not going to disrespect Red Letter Media. If they're funny and they're entertaining,
they are,
then there's a world for it. It's humorous. Here's quality people don't get offended when they're the butt of the joke, unless their name is being slandered in a serious way, Yeah. If they're just the butt of a joke and they're dogging on the fact that Star Wars Theory has built an incredibly successful business and income and lifestyle around being a nerd for Lord of the Rings, that's kind of funny.
You mean Star Wars?
Star Wars, yeah. I'm probably going to be the Lord of the Rings. No, but Nerd of the Rings has done it for Nerd of the Rings,
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say that's wrong. I think it's beautiful. In the same way that people that bring humor out of sort of making fun of that is also funny, because we live in a silly world where people can post videos about other people's videos and make money.
Yeah.
Josh, you look like you had something to say.
Well, I was just gonna acknowledge. I was just like, yeah, we should respect other nerd culture, as we kind of been talking about. But at some point, when do we say, Star Wars Theory, the Acolyte is bad? You have to acknowledge it's bad.
Oh, he absolutely has. He absolutely has.
And just,
well, that was the thing.
When it's like, this is Star Wars, and then the Acolyte comes off that being bad, and it's
that was the whole thing. They were making fun of him for being so upset about how bad the Acolyte was. And that was what the apology was about. It's like, maybe we were too harsh on Star Wars man Theory guy, and we feel like he deserves the same. He deserves respect for what he loves, the same way that we feel like we're validated for what we love.
I agree.
I think that's respectable. And I'm glad that they did it. It's funny, Joe, that you mentioned not getting butt hurt over jokes. I just watched a clip where Chris Stuckman, you know who Stuckman is?
No, I don't.
He's a a YouTube movie reviewer, right? Kind of infamously known for at least these days how like bland his takes are.
Oh, I do know
movies,
this guy.
right?
I do know this guy. Yeah.
I just saw a clip where he's talking about, oh man, Red Letter Media called. He's like they said, who's that one prick, who does movie reviews, and he's like, and then they showed a picture of me, so I remove them from my thing. He's like, and then I realized it was a joke. It was a joke. Through this whole video, you can tell that he's like butthurt. Like he's actually legitimately feels offended. He's like, I got in contact with them. They told me it was a joke. He's like, yeah, it's a joke. They don't think I'm a prick. It was really funny. And you could tell that like he was somebody who didn't take that, very well.
Yeah.
And obviously Star Wars Theory is having a good time with this.
He definitely is. It seems like he's taking it.
Look,
even that small clip, you can tell he's kind of laughing.
I've watched a ton of Star Wars Theory the past 2 months. I watched some of it. I watch it on and off. If there's a lot of conversation about Star Wars, I get back into him, right?
Yeah.
I am subscribed to him, but I don't always watch him on the off season. You know what I mean? And I get a really good sense that Theory is a quality dude.
Yeah, he cares.
I think not just that he cares. I think he's an upstanding dude. I
Nice.
think he's just a good guy.
He's nice.
And he's not uptight,
clean. Yeah. And so I guess my last question regarding this would be, what would you guys' feelings be if somebody called us out? We haven't been.
Oh, hold on.
We're not big enough yet. We haven't been called out.
I mean, we haven't been called out, but
I've been called out.
Okay. In comments?
No.
That don't count.
No, someone made a whole video about that Christian film that I did.
That doesn't count.
It does count. This is relevant.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so I was the DP on this horrible Christian film, right?
Yeah.
And this dude who I didn't know, they found it and they had a series called Dumpster Diving where they reviewed horrible movies. All
That's
right.
Pretty funny.
They stopped uploading. Like they grew really quickly with videos, and then they stopped uploading. But
yeah, it's pretty pathetic.
He rightly so and should have took a massive crap on this film. And it was funny, and it was
Scathing.
finding the insecurities, like because I was on the production, finding the insecurities of things that I was insecure about, and again, digging the knife into those, you know what I mean? That I hope people wouldn't notice. And all I could do was I just left a comment on his video and said, honestly, this is a great analysis and it's very hilarious.
Did he dig into your cinematography?
It's been a long time. I can't remember.
Okay.
I know if he did, I would have included in the comments, but he did a follow-up video where he actually said he really respected how I responded because I said his comments are funny and it's entertaining. And I told him I was the director of photography on the film. And he said he took it on the chin like a champ. And I'm like, I did. Because I actually found what he was saying funny, even though I felt very insecure about it the whole time.
Okay, so here's a hypothetical for you guys. If somebody called out Wiseworks, right?
I Google Wiseworks occasionally just to check.
I'm talking a bigger YouTube channel. Let's say Red Letter Media or Jeremy Johns. I know he doesn't do that kind of content.
Might get us more views,
right? So, somebody calls us out and is like, these three idiots trying to review movies, trying to talk about stuff, right? And really lets us have it. How would you feel?
I mean, it would get us probably more views, so I would like it at first. But then I'd feel
Josh
a
a
hurt.
robot. He's a robot.
All right. Here, Josh,
Wait.
let me give you a hypothetical.
Uh-oh.
What if somebody said those two guys are funny and then that dude in the middle is kind of a loser?
I mean, I hear that quite regularly, actually. And you know what I say?
Well, what if
them?
someone published a video and like got a bunch of responses to the video, their big video, and they're like, "Yeah, he is."
I mean, or if
those digs on us.
Two of those guys are funny, but that one dude with the couch in the background, he seems full of himself. He seems kind of like he thinks he knows everything.
Right.
He doesn't think that Elvis Presley is, born out of the black community, and
he's really kind
has
of
a lot of opinions about
all of his stuff is kind of hit or miss, right? Or that one guy at the bottom thinks he's funny. That guy at the bottom, he actually thinks he's funny. What a loser!
Yeah, right? Is he like a Mexican or something? I don't know.
Okay, so are you asking how will we respond to this?
I'm asking what's the response? How do you guys feel?
All right, first off, I'll be flattered. My initial reaction is flattered. I'm like, okay, someone's noticed and actually decided to include us in like their video or their edit or whatever. And
it's
like
called worst of.
First off, I can't help it. I would be flattered with a mix of other feelings. And I would say when it comes to the internet, you have to just see it as like, if someone truly doesn't like us, or if someone is just like, it's their culture on their channel to make fun of people. Like if Red Letter Media does it, I'm going to be like, of course they would do it. They make fun of Star Wars theory. You know what I mean? Like, of course they would make fun of us. I would be flattered. I would. No matter what they say, I would like, that's what they do. If someone who doesn't usually do that, like if I don't even have a great example. If someone who doesn't usually do that or really truly does associate us with something that's either annoying or something that is despicable, I guess, in movie culture, I would have to just have a conversation with you guys and ingest it and then let it go.
Here's I think a more poignant question. Somebody comes up with a like a worst of, right? Worst of takes, worst of opinions, worst of YouTube commentators, and a clip of ours is in there.
Right.
How does that make you feel?
I would say, like, who made this list? First off, they could be hacks.
Yeah. What if it's Gary?
If it's Gary, my heart breaks.
Your heart breaks. I feel the
I
same.
fall on the
like,
ground
no!
and I pound the floor and I say, my dreams are crushed. My life is over. That's what I say.
I would agree. I don't think we're so self-absorbed or we're so like narrow-minded that we can't have fun. We can't understand, kind of the stuff. I do think sometimes we have had bad takes in videos. Yeah. We have had times where it's like, if somebody clipped this, we would look so bad.
We almost have 1,000 videos on our channel over the past 3 years, right?
Yeah.
1,000 videos. There's a small handful of real nonsense on this.
Yeah.
channel.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, and so of course it's going to exist, and we have to be okay with that existing in order to get to where, we want to go to be able to review movies and talk about stuff on a high scale. You know what I mean? Like
Josh is getting clipped for some of his homophobic or racist takes.
Joshua said it on
Josh is
a
the
recent
most
thing.
racist.
I mean, as long
Josh
as
is getting clipped for being a racist.
As long as they don't clip anything I said about the Jews or
or the blacks, right?
The blacks or Snicker bars or.
Look, I've been trying to help you recently. On that recent Wicked trailer reaction we did, you were about to say, I hate to say it. And I was like, well, then don't.
Please don't.
You said it anyway. And guess what the comments said? They started saying these.
Dude, somebody in a comment called us
freedom of speech.
Somebody said we're bordering on grifters.
Wait,
somebody said we're bordering on grifters, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. You trying to compliment us? Come on. I'm up there with some of the greats then. Gary's
yeah, there's some good grifters up there.
There's some good grifters out there.
Theory.
I might not be full Italian, but I'm 1%. So.
That's grifting. You're grifting off the Italian stuff.
Yeah, stop grifting.
Stop.
I'm
stolen.
I'm gonna grift all my life.
That's stolen valor.
Oh,
but that's.
I have 1%.
That's my stuff on this. I thought it was interesting. I thought it was funny. So I really liked his reaction to their tongue-in-cheek comedy. I mean, they're a staple, right? They're an institute, if you will, of YouTube movie commentary. Even amongst themselves, they've produced their own movies, and nobody takes the piss at it, even their stuff, more than they do.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm Red Letter Media, that is. But that's my segment. That's what that
I
is.
like it.
I'm sorry I have to do this, but I'm still going to do it anyway.
Do it.
It's ironic that a guy with that's the butt of the joke has a butt chin like that.
Dude,
that butt chin is insane.
Let's go back really quick. Dude, I've always
He's the butt of the joke and that chin.
And you know what?
You have to.
He in I believe in the Vader short film that he makes, he plays Palpatine. It works for Palpatine.
Yeah.
Because it's exaggerated almost. It almost looks too much like Palpatine. It's really good. The butt chin works.
Whenever I'm watching his videos, I do tend to find his butt chin with my
You
eye.
watch the chin.
And I do I start thinking
you maintain chin contact.
Well, I start thinking like how does he shave effectively in there?
I've always wondered that because even amongst my family, I've seen some of the older pictures of the Goforth family, and dude, they had the deepest cleft chins. I mean, they weren't handsome guys.
They were like bordering on,
they were old world ugly, right?
They were competing with Gaston.
Yeah, Gaston style. Deep cleft chin, and you wonder how do they get
old
in there?
World ugly.
Old world ugly. Yeah, that's a Rush Hour reference.
I haven't seen Rush Hour, I don't think.
Okay, let's thank the Patreon and YouTube.
Let's move on. Patreon. Let's go. It's Cynthia.
Thank you, Cynthia.
What?
You're a Patreon supporter, and you've been a loyal Patreon supporter for a heck of a long time. Thank you so much. My goodness, thank you for supporting us. You get podcasts early, you get pre-shows, you get all these watch parties, all of the perks that we've gone in and out of, that we've given to you and then taken away.
Yeah, exactly.
We do offer a lot on Patreon. There's a lot of perks there, as well as YouTube memberships. You get exclusive stuff early, and Cynthia has enjoyed those for a long time.
You can go on there and you can get one of the most chaotic movie reviews of Highlander that you've probably ever heard. It was chaos. It really was. I mean, we had to pause it at one point. And
you paused a watch
we had
party?
to get resynced. We had to get resynced.
Are you kidding me?
It was tough.
Wait a minute. This is not helping. This is not helping.
We got through it. No, it's good stuff. You're going to want to watch it.
But
you're going to want to watch it. It's funny. But we do appreciate you joining the Patreon, joining the YouTube memberships. It really helps us a lot.
It really does. And if you want to also join, go to the link in the description for Patreon, or you could just go to the YouTube channel Wiseworks Studio and hit the join button, and you can become a member for just $3.99 a month. That's cheaper than coffee, man. It's cheaper than coffee. I said this last time, but I went to Starbucks recently, and I got a tall, not a grande, a tall caramel macchiato.
Yeah.
It was $6 and some change at a Starbucks for the tall ones. And I'm like, bro, our memberships are cheaper than the Starbucks coffee, and people get Starbucks every single day.
Yeah, that's cheaper than a pack of Zen.
It's cheaper than a pack of Zen. All you boys out there.
Yeah, get your your fix on Route 66. Out here, that's us. We're Route 66 in the analogy.
Right. If you're picking up 2 packs of Zen, you've picked up 2 months.
Yeah,
plus,
exactly.
Like 3 months, right, of a Patreon membership from us. So thank you, Cynthia, for choosing us over the old gum pillow.
Fun.
I want to address this.
Oh,
since we're in the podcast, I'm in a new space,
new studio.
It's not done, but it is present. It is lit somewhat, and it's a little bit bigger than my other place, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a basement now. It's not a spare room, so I have a whole basement, and I love it here. I love it in Georgia. It's a beautiful place to live. I've visited many times, but somehow living here makes me feel happy.
Yeah.
And it's everything I ever dreamed of. It's anything I ever had hoped for.
When are you going to come visit us?
I'll come visit very soon. Not this weekend, but...
Yeah, probably not next weekend.
Why not?
I won't be here. Probably not the weekend after that either, because I won't be here.
Man.
But maybe the weekend after that.
Yeah.
I'm not waiting that long. All right, but yeah, it's good to be in Georgia, man. I got my license.
Yeah.
I got everything's good, man. Life is good.
Figured out. That's quick.
Yeah, I'm quick in everything.
30 seconds.
I shouldn't be quick in. I love it here. It's been a long time coming. Really, really happy to be in Georgia, and I'm really happy for this home, for the studio space. Got Fiona's back.
Yeah, I was watching Fiona walk around on the couch earlier. It was pretty funny.
And as the episodes and time goes on, you'll see this place become more alive and more interesting as a studio. But I'm trying to keep the heart of what I've created a lot of content with, and want this place to be really, really home for a long time. So,
all right, moving on.
Don't you guys? Aren't you exciting?
Dude, shut up.
New starts. It's exciting.
Stop talking.
I do feel like there is a couple new starts soon.
Dude, we're moving. Everybody's moving with stuff. Everybody's getting on. It was funny. I was talking to my boss about it today, and it was pretty funny.
What is he doing?
Oh, he was just asking. He was asking about my my plans. He was asking about my brother's plans. He was asking about my other brother's plans. He was asking about Josh's plans. He's like, dang, you guys are moving. You guys are moving forward with life stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty sick. It's pretty cool.
Things are happening.
Yeah, things are happening. But let's not talk about the future.
Okay.
I want to talk about kind of the past and maybe a little bit of the present.
Okay.
Yeah, let's be in the present right now.
I want to talk a little bit
Wait
about
a minute. We've used this AI generation before.
No, we
No, we
It's
haven't.
completely new.
Well, the
It's
AI
funny.
on the screen
It's
is
AI generated. It's completely new.
It's so funny how
on
every
the
single
screen is
time,
new, but
Joshua, listen, Joshua. Every time we start a new segment, we kick it off. Wyatt's literally going into his monologue. He's planned in his head. He's prepared. And Joshua has the audacity to just
interrupt.
derail. Wait a minute. This AI generation is the same.
No, this is a new one.
okay.
This is completely new. I want to talk about the movies.
Okay.
A little bit about the movies. I am going to ask a series of questions from you guys
Okay.
and get your answers.
Okay.
How's that sound? A little question and answer.
That's
Let's
good.
slow it
Fun.
down. Let's get away from kind of the modern news and stuff and
Fun.
let's
fun,
ask a
fun.
question.
Okay.
Is this multiple choice?
No.
All right.
Yes. What was the first movie you remember watching?
Ooh.
And how did it make you feel?
At the
Like
theater?
first when
No.
when I was
And
like
you remember the
4 years
first
old?
movie you've ever seen?
Yes.
And I'm not talking about Veggie Tales.
We're not talking about kids' movies.
I'm not talking about kids. I'm talking about the first film that you
Yes.
watched and you comprehended
Yes.
and how it made you feel.
Yes. I
Okay.
have it.
Hit me with it.
The Phantom Menace, Star Wars.
Okay.
Mm.
Cool.
The Phantom Menace. That was the first movie.
How did it make you feel watching
It
it?
made me feel excited. I laughed hysterically at Jar Jar Binks. I was just a little boy. I thought
Yeah,
it was the
I
most
did
funny
too.
thing ever.
He got you.
And-
George got you.
George got me, my little 7-year-old self. He got me, or 6-year-old. I don't know how old I was, and it made me feel excited. I love Star Wars. I watched 4, 5, and 6 soon after. I remember going on vacation, going to a little like small hotel theater or something weird like that to watch Attack of the Clones, right?
Yes.
So I remember that. I remember literally as Attack of the Clones came out, but Phantom Menace came out when I was like 5, right? What was it, 1995 or 1999 it came out or something like that?
99, I believe it was.
And so I remember like a couple years after it was out, I watched it and I was the pod race.
Oh yeah.
The lightsaber fights.
Yeah.
The fact that there was a young boy named Anakin going on these crazy adventures, I was like, I could be him. It's me.
It's me.
I could live in this world. I was like, Saboba, get him.
Get him.
I mean? Get
Kill
him.
him.
He's a bad
Kill
guy.
him.
You know, his wonder, excitement. I love the Phantom Menace. Going back and watching, I'm like, this is pretty hammy. But when I was like 6 or 7 years old,
Yeah.
it was the best.
That's pretty cool.
It was the
Josh, you
best.
got one?
I don't know, like, the first movie that I watched, but it had to have been, I would agree, like Star Wars was a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, watching Star Wars as a little kid and being like, Darth Vader is Anakin's father? That's crazy.
Luke's father?
But yeah,
Darth Vader is
I messed
Anakin.
He is Anakin.
Darth Vader
booked
is
Death Star.
Luke's father. I messed that up.
Reminded me
But-
of the interview
And
guy
just
from The Acolyte.
Star Wars had such like I remember as a little kid like the Skywalkers. Luke is a Skywalker, and this family drama almost. to
Yeah.
this
But
movie
it's Star
was
Wars
like,
for you as well.
oh,
That's the
wait.
first movie.
yeah, honestly, I remember.
You remember
Being
watching like 4, 5, and 6 when you were young.
That's what I remember more than 1, 2, and 3. I mean, I do remember 1, 2, and 3, but that was a little bit later. I remember
Yeah.
4, 5, and 6 before anything because I was like, you know, they're all this family drama and it's crazy. All the pieces are fitting. And then once the third movie came out, I remember we didn't go to the theater watch it. We were way too young. So being like, oh yeah, obviously they're going to show Anakin become Darth Vader in this movie. And it's going to kind of all fit in with the Skywalker, family tree, if you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's cool. I like I don't know what the first movie I watched was. I'm sure it was, something.
Look.
The first movie I remember comprehending,
yes,
and actually quoting was The Princess Bride.
It was. I knew you were gonna.
It was and it's part of the reason it was my favorite. It is still my favorite movie. It's the first movie I actually remember comprehending and knowing what it was.
Yeah.
I've got really, really early memories of being at, someone's house and thinking about it and quoting it and watching the movie. Very, very early memories.
All right.
So
that was mine.
I don't mean to steal your thunder, but I'm
hit it.
We didn't get the privilege of knowing Princess Bride until I remember I was in high school. Yeah, well, I was in high school, like a junior or senior, even maybe a junior, and your aunt came and stayed with us for a very short period of time, and had the VHS or DVD copy of it, and was like, "Have you ever seen The Princess Bride? Here you go," and just kind of letting us enjoy it. And there's been so many movies that your aunt has showed us. We just kind of experienced.
A Sunday after church, she would come to our house and she would have a movie ready to go. She's like, "Have you seen August Rush? Have you seen
The Mask of Zorro?"
Yeah, have you seen this movie? And then she would have it. We would find it and turn it on, whatever.
And it'd be such a beautiful moment just to clip this portion of the podcast and just give a little bit of respect and I don't want to say memory because she's still alive, but kind of
Yeah, this is a bad idea to clip this part out.
No, well, don't. But it show her this and be like, you influenced our movie watching
consumption
over generations of movie watching, ultimately to become this company to creating.
Look, you're getting a little too in the weeds, Joshua.
I am a little bit.
I mean, no, he's not wrong. At least for me, even going over to her house, we watched so many different kinds of movies.
Yeah.
I don't know how many times we watched Three Musketeers.
Show her this and give her
Lady Hawk.
Respect.
You guys seen Lady Hawk?
No.
What? Okay, well, it's
look,
Matthew Broderick in it. It's about a guy who's a knight and he has a hawk, and at night he turns into a wolf and the hawk turns into a lady. And they're in love with each other. And you got to watch it. It's an incredible movie. And Matthew Broderick.
Okay.
Love.
What's the next question?
So, we've got 4 more questions after this.
Okay.
Who's your favorite director and what do you admire about their work?
Easy.
Yep.
I'm going to call
Peter Jackson.
Okay. Oh, okay.
No, look, and this is a thing. Everyone's like, yes, Peter Jackson. He's so well known. Peter Jackson. Oh, Lord of the Rings, Peter. The thing is, Peter Jackson did something inside my soul, which I'm sure he did for a lot of people. He did something inside my soul. I didn't care about behind the scenes. I didn't care about movie making. I didn't even consider the idea of telling stories through movies. I was like, I just watch movies. I just watch The Incredibles. I just watch Bug's Life. I just watch movies. You know what I mean?
I'm just a movie watcher.
I just watch movies. It's somehow they got to me. You know what I mean? But when I watched Lord of the Rings, it was the first time I thought, how did they do this and who did this? It's the first time I ever thought that. And then I discovered there's 10 hours worth of behind the scenes documentaries. All right.
Yeah.
And I watched it all. And watching Peter Jackson craft the story of Lord of the Rings from the books to the cinema it woke something up inside of me and made me say, I want to do that.
Yeah.
I want to do that. And the thing is, I don't even like a handful of Peter Jackson movies. But
he's made some bad ones.
He's made a couple stinkers, you know?
Yeah.
Peter Jackson really has made a couple stinkers. Mm-hmm. But his work and him working on The Lord of the Rings is some of the best work that anyone has done in cinema history. And it inspired me to actually want to make movies and to be a part of the process myself, you know?
Yeah.
So easy. It seems like a big one, but that's it.
Yeah. Josh?
I'm definitely going to have to go with, classic Steven Spielberg, the old Jewish man. We love him.
Yeah.
I just remember as a kid not watching Jurassic Park, but I do remember watching that. But it was like E.T. being hit with E.T. and, Land Before Time, the first one, and watching his movies and just them feeling so special with him and John Williams kind of coming together to create a movie that is movie magic.
Yeah.
And
I would agree.
That he's always been my favorite director. And then later on, watching things like, the Fabelmans, which is like an unknown, not really many people watch the Fabelmans, but it kind of, it kind of hit me. And it's like, this pulleys at the tug strings somehow. It's kind of, it's weird. It's not the best movie of his, but it's still, it hits you right there in the feels to where he knows what he's doing when he directs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, Spielberg has hit you with some of the best ones. Hook for me was the one that culminated the John Williams and the Spielberg feeling. That was the one. I liked E.T. I really did, but it was probably Hook that really captured my imagination. And there's too many really to for me to land on one. I know
riff as the kids are like pedaling away, that little E.T. riff that's like, I don't even know, I can't do it, but no, not that one, like the intense one where it's like
dun, dun, dun. I don't know.
Yeah. And they're pedaling away and they're like riding their bike. It's in my memory right now.
Okay. Wyatt, what's yours?
So I really thought about this one. I couldn't nail it down.
Why are you asking questions you can't even answer yourself?
Because I wanted to say Spielberg as well. But I also wanted to say, Christopher Nolan, and I wanted to say, what's his name? Who did? He did The Killer. Fincher.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to nail one down. So I figured I would throw Nolan in just because on
a technical level, he might be the best director.
Level, he's one of the best.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring. And I know a lot of people out there don't like movies like Tenet. They don't like Interstellar. There's probably more people out there that don't like Interstellar. And I know that, that's hard for me because I love it so much. But I do recognize that, it has issues. But man, he knows how to do it.
Yeah.
He knows how to make a good movie. And I would say even in the early days, man, Shyamalan. Even Shyamalan, you got to put mad respect on his name because he was doing some pretty cool stuff.
He absolutely was.
It's been a little bit hit or miss lately.
I still like watching his stuff and thinking. He makes you
think these days more than something like Unbreakable or what was it? The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of his movies I want to go back and watch. But I would call out Nolan. It's pretty good. Respect on James Cameron too, Aliens and Titanic. But man, I could not. I racked my brain for this question. But yeah, I got to throw Nolan into the ring for that one.
Okay.
Next question. Have you ever been inspired by a movie to make a change in your personal life or perspective?
Getting deep here.
Mm-hmm.
Really deep.
Good question.
Something in a movie that it could be years ago or it could be recently, whatever it is.
I got it.
I have
Go ahead, Joshua. Go ahead, Joshua, because you seem to take the longest to answer your questions.
Well, you do too, Joe.
I don't.
Yeah,
I don't.
do. Okay, I'm going to go with 2 movie scores that kind of, touch us. And we've used in our movies, let me do this fast. I'm not, like a lot. So, Eye of the Tiger on Rocky. I don't remember exactly which one. I think the third one.
Mm-hmm.
Eye of the Tiger, very inspirational. Get it done, work, do it. And then Chariots of Fire. I've never seen the movie, surprisingly. But the sound score Chariots of Fire has been so inspirational to
I feel it.
Our movie creation, our getting it done. It's kind of that dun 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 dun, and you just wanna. It's so inspirational, and I'm gonna say those 2 things.
So yeah, here's the thing. Some of these answer to these questions, like you're asking like the big picture questions, which some of this has already come up many times on the podcast in different variations. Okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of have 2. I'll be brief. So my first thought was Godfather, and there's that saying that to be like, basically when I watched The Godfather for the first time, I thought like, okay, this is a fictional character. He's a mob boss. He does bad things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there's something to being like a man that saying like, you can't just be rash. You can't just be the strongest. Sometimes it's better to be wise and thoughtful and strategic going through life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a big perspective that I had watching The Godfather. And because Michael's like the smallest in his family, but he has the best strategy and he's the most bold to be able to carry something out. And he's wise in his decision making, and not always, but that's like a big narrative when it comes to like mob or like villains. You know what I mean? Is having wisdom to get your goal, essentially. Being crafty in the process.
Yeah.
I think the bigger one though is the idea of life, like changing your life perspective, where it's got to be the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbeans for me.
Okay.
Because when I look at pirates, here's the thing that I realized, and I still kind of war with this in my head a little bit actually, is pirates are not good people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Pirates are not, there are some people being labeled as pirates in history that were not necessarily bad people, but piracy as a lifestyle is a bad thing. Pirates of the Caribbean, however, took people and like that did bad things and made them human and gave them something noble to pursue, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what Pirates did for me is fascinating tale of bad people doing something right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something also to kind of the lifestyle of piracy that's fascinating to me. And I think there's like this really cool mix of like saying like there are values in the world of piracy that can be applied. Like if you look at the Pirates Code, you can look at it abstractly and glean interesting life perspectives out of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And principles to follow. But also just the idea of like brand, like business building and branding. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is a big motivation for like my choice in design or how I approach what like a brand look would be, you know. And I think even on this podcast it kind of comes across a little bit, and I think there's something to that. So I don't know, there's like a bunch of different films that's caused little tweaks here and there, but I think the biggest one might be Pirates.
Yeah,
that wasn't long enough.
That was a little bit long-winded, actually. Mine is Hook. Mm-hmm. It is Hook. There, even as a kid, I remember how Robin Williams, Peter Banning, goes from who he is in the movie, who he believes he is, to being Peter Pan. But more than that, there were moments that stuck out to me. You know, when he finds his happy thought, and he's like, it was my son.
Yes,
it was my child. It was being a father. And I was like, oh, that's really, even as a kid, I was like, that's really beautiful that a dad, you know, his happy thought is, you know, after all of those adventures that he had as basically an immortal, you know, that it would be growing up and having a son, or a daughter. And then even after that with Tinkerbell, he kisses Tinkerbell and he's like, this isn't my wish.
Yeah.
Right. Mine is my family. That's, you know, he loses sight kind of who he is being Peter Pan, and realizes his family is what's most important.
Yeah.
And then all of the moments after that, it's his family, it's his kids, it's his wife. It's all of those stories were the most important.
Yeah.
Not the fun, not the imagination, not the being a kid. It was the growing up that was the adventure. And that as a kid, I feel like partially I didn't understand. And then part of me was like, there's something unique in this that I think I'll probably understand more when I'm older.
Right.
That's so beautiful. And like, I bet when looking back, like Steven Spielberg, kind of him directing it the way, what he was feeling in his life, I bet that, you know, he had this big dream of becoming a film director, becoming a director, doing films and loving that. And then, you know, I bet you he probably took a break of being like, I'm having kids. I'm getting married and having these dreams in life. But I don't have to walk away from me being a director and still having these happy thoughts. And it's so beautiful. Steven, go back to my thing before with the director. I love the way he tells a story.
Yeah. I think absolutely, like,
He's
this
beautiful.
movie was when he had kids. He probably had his divorce by this point. And making this movie was an expression of this life, you know, this growing up, this, you know, my kids and my family. That's my happy thought. That's what it's about. It's not about the imagination and the fighting pirates all the time and the, you know,
it's fun as a young man to fight pirates.
It's fun as a young, exactly. To go on your adventures, but your family can be just as fun.
It's
they don't make movies like that anymore, man.
No, I don't think I've seen a movie that inspired me the way that Hook did in a long time. Next question. I think this is the last question. Oh wait, hold on.
I already answered this question.
Is there a particular movie that sparked your love for cinema? If so, which one? Why? Is this redundant?
No, I gave it up earlier. I answered this question preemptively.
Which was, what was it?
Which was Lord of the Rings. No.
Lord of the Rings? Okay.
Your love for cinema. Yeah.
For cinema specifically.
Yes. For cinema specifically.
We're talking, I'm not talking about imagination. I'm talking about for,
I have it.
I wanted
for actual, like, cinema, for watching something technical.
Yes. I wanted to work in cinema after watching Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
So I don't know how to get further.
You have a different one, Josh?
Yeah. It's a little bit different answer than what you are looking for, but I'm gonna explain myself and give you why. So I think why my passion for movies and things that uh, has inspired me of why I want to be in this industry and like making videos on YouTube and all this. It's this aspect of this might seem a little dark, but of I dealt with a lot as a kid with it, you know, blowing up like the Elephant Man, being having poison ivy, or having poison ivy, or like, you know, things I dealt with in life. And I always would sit down and watch a movie and be like, this is distracting to me. But yet it kind of gave me that, it distracted me, but gave me joy in the moment because it took me away from life a little bit. It distracted me from that life. And you know, a movie, and this is crazy, that I loved watching and I've watched probably like 30 times is the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. It's a bad movie, but I had the VHS tape of it and I've watched it 30 times on
Talk about the
repeat.
live action one.
The live action one where, you know, the first one where they go to the farm, they lose Splinter and then they have to go rescue him, and it's just a beautiful movie.
Yeah. I would say that the first movie where I actually started analyzing film and sort of breaking it down as to what's good and what's not and what I enjoy was probably Ip Man. You guys ever seen that with Donnie Yen?
Not seen it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's a good movie. And I remember I watched it and I watched it and I watched it with my family and I watched it with other people. And I was like, this storytelling in this establishing of characters, there's some really good like fight scenes, yes, which I love. And I go back and watch a couple times, but the way that they play this movie out was probably the first one where I was like, they're doing interesting stuff here with how they're telling a story.
Right.
With these characters and whether it's, true, historically, it doesn't matter to me. It was really well executed. So let's move on from this one. Is there a movie you think everyone should watch at least once?
There's more?
Yeah, this is the last one, I think.
Okay.
A movie everyone should watch at least once.
I mean, Lord of the Rings.
That's too simple of an answer.
Maybe, okay. Some classic movies.
Don't say anything Steven Spielberg's done. Everyone's already seen
it.
No.
I got two. The Godfather or like Ben-Hur or like 10 Commandments. Those are classic movies that like everybody should watch. 10 Commandments or The Godfather.
Joseph,
you go, Wyatt. I'm still thinking.
Oh, mine is Rear Window.
Ooh,
mine is Rear Window. I think it's something everybody should watch purely for dialogue.
Yeah.
Wait, who made that one?
Alfred Hitchcock.
I thought so. Yeah.
Everything that they do with every bit of dialogue is intricate and it's important and it's well written and it all takes place in one apartment. It's so well done that I think that for the what it does with the dialogue and how it informs on the characters in the movie. I mean, for pure dialogue stuff, you can't go wrong with When Harry Met Sally. Ooh. That's just a dialogue heavy, really kind of fun watch if you're watching for dialogue. But I would say Rear Window. That was one I remember watching really early.
When Harry Met Sally?
No, Rear Window.
Oh, I was going to say, what?
Yeah.
This is a really hard question.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's like, I need to think like, what is it about the movie that everyone must watch, right? Mm-hmm. Is it something that I think that you should just watch because, or is it something that I think you should
Something
watch.
you think people can take away.
Something you should take away?
Yeah. Something you can learn about cinema or about storytelling, or just about entertainment.
All right. It's a classic. I believe there's a colored version, but most of the ones I watched were in black and white. It's a Wonderful Life.
Okay.
Everyone should watch It's a Wonderful Life, especially around
I'm
Christmas
sure everybody
time.
has seen It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. All right. Especially now. You think modern kids are watching It's a Wonderful Life?
No, I would agree.
Yeah. Everyone should be watching that movie.
So Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
Hello,
Jimmy
building,
Stewart
bank,
movies.
and loan.
You gotta you hitting us with a Jimmy Stewart, Josh. Something everybody should watch. He hits us with a what's another Jimmy Stewart movie? Mr. Smith Goes to Washington.
Yeah.
Ooh,
It's really good.
never seen that
I think everybody should watch that if you're interested in politics.
Or The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. It's a little John Wayne.
Oh. I got another really good one that everyone should watch, especially if you're an American. You got to watch this. And it is a Steven Spielberg movie. You should watch Lincoln. Like Lincoln is a brilliant American historical film about Abraham Lincoln.
That's with Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yes.
I've abandoned my child. Oh wait, no.
And Lincoln, if you haven't seen Lincoln,
Joseph Levitt-Gordon.
I will find you.
Joseph Levitt-Gordon. Josh always switches the last two.
One of those.
Yeah, no. If a lot of people, I don't think, did watch Lincoln.
No,
it's not a super well-known Spielberg film, but it's really good.
So good.
Yeah, for sure.
I would even call out that one that we watched together with really young Christian Bale. What's that? Is that
Tears of the Sun?
No, Tears of the Sun. That's not what it's called.
No, is that not what it's called? Empire of the Sun.
Empire
of the Sun.
Tears of the Sun is
I think people should watch that movie. That's a really solid film.
Yeah, no, it is.
It's long.
That's a Spielberg film too, right?
What's yours, Josh?
He already said it.
I already said. I said 10 Commandments.
Oh yeah, 10 Commandments.
Or The Godfather.
Yeah. Good. That's awesome.
Very fun. A little introspective there, Wyatt. It's not
made
what we do.
I wanted to take it back. I feel like we don't always we get into our opinions so much, like throughout, like interspersed with topics that we talk about, but we don't ever like focus in on some of that kind of stuff. So really quickly, kind of to finish it off, I know we don't have too much time left, but I we got our AI news.
Is it Spider-Man?
No, it's not Spider-Man. This is just something I generated because it's video game E.
That looks like Spider-Man to me.
Yeah. We've got another strike on our hands.
Oh boy. Oh crap.
Got another strike on our hands. It's again with SAG-AFTRA, but it's not with movies. This is with video games.
Gaming.
AI in video games. We're striking again, man.
At least we're still getting our movies because
video game. Gosh, those two look like video game characters. Video game actors declare strike over AI usage.
We predicted this.
And I want to call this out. This has been all over the news today. I set this up in the podcast like minutes after it dropped.
Oh,
minutes. Yeah.
All right.
So you guys are seeing this way later. But
but you knew about it.
I knew about it minutes after it dropped.
Okay. All right. So what's the details on this?
So we're going on strike. Some of the biggest publishers in video games over AI usage. If you want to scroll down a little bit, so right here it says the strike will impact productions at some of the biggest publishers of video games. Negotiations began October 2022 for SAG-AFTRA members working at Activision Blizzard, Electronic Arts, Insomniac Games, Take-Two Productions, WB Games, Blindside, Disney,
Ooh,
blah, 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 blah. While the union says headway was made on many issues, the companies refuse to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by this contract in their AI language. They say we are not going to consent to a contract that allows companies to abuse AI to determine to the detriment of our members. Enough is enough. So this, I think, is more pressing than the actors and screenwriters, right?
Yeah.
With the AI, maybe for the writers.
Okay.
Actors, the physical live action actors don't have as much to worry about. It was weird that they all went on strike as well.
Right.
These guys have more to fear. Voice actors.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because we have seen, I mean, in the last year and a half, that AI is doing a really great job imitating people's voices.
Yes.
A really great job.
Well, it's really easy for them to do now.
And with
AI
voice actors, you have how many hours and hours worth of dialogue to train a bot on, and you can get Fred Tatasciore, right, who plays so many characters in video games and animation. You guys would probably recognize him most if you've seen anything animated for the Hulk or any kind of like big boy characters. He plays big boy characters. He does a lot of big guy voices, right? He's probably been in more stuff that you've seen than you know.
Okay.
Because he's a talented voice actor. He plays big brute kind of characters, and there's thousands of hours of his voice.
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
It is. It is. I think so. Wow. Yeah, this is with one fell swoop, like tomorrow, they could just crush every voice acting job for video games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the software is almost free to do it perfectly right now. So it's not even something that has to be worried about in the future. This is something that's just like, are we going to still get paid for this, or are we done tomorrow?
Yeah.
You know? That's probably how the video game actors feel. And it's a pretty big deal. I think voice talent, unfortunately, it definitely is something of the future, but it is going to have to look very different than it's looked all along. Since microphones existed, it's going to have to be different than it's been, right?
I hate to say this because I'm going to be on the side of AI.
Oh, yeah?
If we can create something that can create voices, then why are we halting the progression of technology by people are like, oh, I might lose my job. Okay, get a different job.
All right, that's a bit crazy to say.
Yeah, but like your whole life is like, I am my talent is
okay. But how many people are like
to this?
Okay, talented, and they're not even that talented. They're just doing voice acting because they can.
But
okay,
it's not
maybe
them.
if you have a unique voice like Robin Williams. Robin Williams could do so many different voices that were unique that AI is probably not going to be able to replicate.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just a basic, let me read this script, then why are we halting technology and saying like, no, I don't want to lose my job. I'm going to go on strike so that they don't use this technology.
We're not really halting technology. We're just saying,
okay, but
studios are not going
there's something that can do it for free over why am I don't want to lose my job, so I'm going to go on strike that they can't use this technology. What? That's like
but this is their livelihood, and
that's like saying, okay, let's use this example. you're not allowed to shoot me with a gun because you're going to make the sword obsolete. You have to use a sword because I don't want the sword to be obsolete.
That's a point, but like, is it a good point? Right?
Well, you have to question the ethics of it. It's just an ethical question. Look, it's not a matter of what should they do necessarily like for the future, but today, this year, right? What are the ethics of it? And the ethics is to not put thousands of people who probably have families that they support with this income and have spent their entire career building to where they are now out of a job tomorrow because a robot knows how to do your job now. Right?
The whole point of the strike is to protect humans, to protect to protect jobs, to protect talent, right, and creativity. I don't think a voice actor is less creative.
I don't think so either.
Than a physical actor.
Mm-hmm.
I think
they're doing a lot with their voice.
Yeah, a good voice actor is going to be better than AI and give us something unique that AI is not going to be able to create.
Yeah, and that's what they're trying to protect.
Okay, but just a basic person reading a script is not really giving much value.
But that's not who we're protecting. We're protecting people like Fred Tatasciore. We're protecting people like Tara Strong. You may not recognize her voice, but you've heard her. She's been in like Fairly Odd Parents. She's played Harley Quinn. Yeah. She's played in the Boondocks. The people who are adding subpar voice acting value are not the people that we're replacing. It's the people who have had thousands and thousands of hours of their voice out there that AI can copy.
Yeah,
that's
AI copying should be illegal.
Their inflection, their emotion that they've put out there. We don't need to train AI on, people we're picking up off the street to voice act. It's the people who are actually talented.
Okay.
They're trying to protect their jobs.
That I agree with. Where if they're mimicking a talented actor who's already created something and it's just mimicking him or her because it wants something unique over it. Yeah, it's cheaper. There was a lawsuit probably a couple years ago at this point, but of Scarlett Johansson. I think it was, I don't want to call it anybody specifically, but I think it was like a cell phone company that wanted her to do a voice overlay for like a commercial or something.
Yes.
And she was like, "No, I'm not going to do it."
It was to be used in an AI platform. She's
already I think been in a legal battle with ChatGPT.
Yes, that's what it is.
Yeah. Recently, recently, like in the past, like 5 months, because they're using
voice for
what sounds like her voice.
Very similar.
I mean, I've heard it. It sounds like her voice. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that shouldn't be allowed.
That makes sense. If they're mimicking somebody specifically and making it sound like them because that's cheaper, then yes, I would agree that.
I think what this is what they want specifically is proper wording in contracts that says you're not allowed to use a voice actor's voice or a sound alike without their permission. AI shouldn't be able to replace what's her name, Scarlett Johansson's voice, or Tara Strong or Fred Tatasciore. There should be wording in AI stuff and in Hollywood stuff, video game, contracts that say that
you can't do this.
That you can't do that. That's the important part here.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think this is going to get more and more complicated, even if strikes work and everything and they agree. It's kind of like what we saw with the actors. It's like there's a time limit on this, right?
There is. And dude, how long were they on strike for?
They were on strike for a solid 8 months, I think.
It was ridiculous. It was such a long time.
And they only got a deal that's like it's going to benefit them for like the next 3 years, 2 years or something like that. So it's like, all right, it's going to be the same with this. Yes, legally, especially in America where we have self-actualized freedoms, you know what I mean, that no one can step on legally. It should be 100% ethically against the law to create a mimicking AI and sell that. It's not okay.
So do you think other countries are going to start outperforming USA video game companies because they're using AI?
Yeah. Asian companies will do it so fast. Like China and Japan will do it so fast. And
I think I tend to agree with that.
No, 100%. The thing is, America has to deal in the realm of ethics where
other countries don't have to necessarily.
Not necessarily, not on the same level of ethics considerations, right? And so they can do a lot more for a lot less. And so, yeah, I think 100%. There's like, this is the battle of the 5 armies. You know what I mean?
Oh,
this is a weird situation where it's like AI is one side, human self-sovereignty is another. The Asian countries is another.
Asian countries
is another war, and they're all fighting at the same time. They're all
Asian
fighting
independence, AI.
Right, exactly, and yeah, it's there. I think honestly, in that battle, the weakest ones is the humans,
humans,
right? or the humans that have self-sovereignty. I think we're on a track to a losing battle there. In the same way that actors are. That's why we've said in the podcast the best hope for actors in a AI-driven world is you get money to share your likeness or to do a
your voice
version
talent
or a version of motion capture that an AI can replicate your exact appearance.
Patent yourself.
You patent yourself and you sell yourself. And in some ways, actors already do that, except now it's instead of actors selling themselves to show up on set and be filmed, they're selling themselves for likeness. Exactly.
Yeah, and you're right. The other countries will be able to outperform because they don't have to pay those actors.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to think about how long is Bryan Cranston going to be on set or in the recording booth for this stuff. When we have a robot that sounds Bryan Cranston enough and it can do unlimited amount of work with no pay.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, it's scary. It's interesting.
Why is it scary is always the term we use to describe AI.
Because it's scary. People are going to be losing their jobs.
Scary.
And who knows what's going to happen. Pretty soon you and I could be replaced.
We're going to be replaced. Like they're going to open a separate WiseWorks Studio YouTube channel that works better than us. And it's our likeness and our logo and everything.
Yeah. It'll be WiseWorks.
Their editing's probably so much faster than ours.
Yeah.
They can just generate a video that's fully edited.
Fully edited. They'll get all 3 and will look just enough like us and sound just enough like us to pass for us. Josh would be spot on.
I want to put in a request. I want to be put in a request. If they do that, can they make me Asian?
They could.
I want to be Asian. The guy in the middle wants to be Asian.
I was gonna say we got to do the Inception thing. We got to have our dice, or we have to have our
to know if we're real.
To know if we're real. We got to do the Inception thing. Make sure we're in reality.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea for a story, but we could talk about that later. Thank you guys for watching the WiseWorks podcast. We've come to the end here at the end of all things. How many times have we referenced Lord of the Rings in this episode? You can go back and count.
Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, leave it in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. We appreciate it. We're back at it, and coming out with new WiseWorks podcast episodes. be sure to stick around. We'll see you next time.